All right, so the Buckeyes have been plummeting. They're continuing their decline, and we have March Madness coming up. So
at least we're in the tournament, though. Can't take that away from us.
Even if we drop the last two.
That's because the school's in Columbus.
Yeah,
if it wasn't for that, they probably would be like 27th now.
You know, the perfect season's gone. The Big Ten championship is gone.
Yep.
At least we're in a tournament.
I wonder how much this team cares about winning. I wonder how much Sullinger cares about winning, and how much he's just thinking it doesn't matter. I'm a big name. I get to the playoffs. To the tournament. We're gonna do whatever we do, and I'm gonna do a lot of stuff. I'm a big name. I go into the draft. I make a big check. I get on a team.
Mm-hmm.
And do you want that guy? He seems soft. That's what I'm saying. He seems soft. He doesn't seem like the killer that we want to see, and that seems to be true so often when we see kids come out of college nowadays. And I'm not like that old of a fogey, but I've seen it. I mean, you've been watching college basketball for a long period of time, and you see this fight. There's just this unending fight with a lot of these big name prospects. And nowadays you see a lot of the, all right, when's the NBA calling?
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of that with this team this year. It's a lot of selfish play, I think. And one of the main things is that people know Sullinger. They got a lot of film on him. Teams know how to shut him down. That's one of the downsides of sticking around in college basketball. They get film on you. People learn how to stop you.
All right, so I've got to weigh in on Jeremy Lin. I'm not talking about the player himself or even his play on the court. I'm talking about a bunch of racist crap from some spineless morons who just love to point the finger and demean other people to raise their stupid crying little egos. First, there was this writer that was fired for putting a chink in his armor in the headline. A chink in his armor. It's used in sports all the time. If you're a sports fan, you've heard it before. Here's the definition that Merriam-Webster's dictionary gives to us. So the piece was about weaknesses in Jeremy Lin's game. Fair, not racist. But look what these writers wrote. Would you say that these headlines are fair? They're assuming, in fact, presenting that this is automatically and definitely a racial slur and meant that way with no other possible explanation. It's like these writers are vultures and they're just feeding off of the corpse of their fellow writer who's been fired. This is insane. And now you have Ben and Jerry's ice cream. The girlish bunch of hippies that are so incredibly touchy-feely. It's laughable to say that they were being racist, but yet they wanted to celebrate Linsanity, so they had some Linsanity ice cream and they put fortune cookies in it. Fortune cookies. They're good. I like fortune cookies. Jeremy Lin is Taiwanese. That's basically Chinese. Fortune cookies are Chinese. They were celebrating his nationality. They're celebrating him. And he is many, many things. And as we all are, we love our heritage. I think fortune cookies are great. And I don't know what you have to do if you are trying to celebrate Linsanity with ice cream. How do you make Jeremy Lin ice cream? Like shred up little basketball pieces in there? I don't think so. So look, to celebrate Linsanity and fortune cookies, and out of a little bit of retaliation, I went out, I got some fortune cookies, and I've been enjoying them. I happen to have one right here. I think I'll open it. Let's just read this fortune. You will continue to be surrounded by a bunch of pathetic morons. They're always so good, aren't they?
All right, so is it too early to start talking orange and brown?
It's combine time. People are starting to talk football.
For me, it's football every day.
That's
so
true.
I hold it back. Now draft's coming up, so it's Browns time. And I got a question. Why should we not take Robert Griffin III as our new quarterback? Now, I know it's going to cost some draft picks, and it could cost us our first two plus our second, maybe our one next year. Who knows what it's going to cost? Let's just talk about why we should not take this player and sacrifice a few players this year.
Why we should.
Why we should possibly. So, Robert Griffin, all right, he is touted as, if you remove Luck from the equation, the best quarterback in this draft. Yeah. All right, Robert Griffin, combine, tore it up, 4.4 in the 40.
He's fast.
Yeah, he's fast. That is the fastest since Mike Vick.
Wow.
My boy.
Yeah. But he's also 6'2", 220 pounds, and that is 6'2" is not exactly tall for a quarterback, but when you can run 700 rushing yards, 10 TDs rushing in college, 4,300 yards passing, 37 TDs in 2011, I think that you've got a guy that is kind of a complete package, and I haven't watched him all season, so I'm not going to make it sound like I did, but I've read a lot about him, and the guys that did use the words like fearless and just an absolute leader and just and he's absolutely intense on the football field, and that's what I like to see. And we've got intensity in Colt McCoy, and that I think is a fair thing to say about him. But we don't have is this raw physical ability to go with that intensity and with that intelligence. We might have that in Robert Griffin. So I'm not saying we take him or don't, but I'm just saying, is there a solid good reason why we don't take him and give up a few picks to do so?
I think the Browns are committed to Colt McCoy right now, and I think a lot of Browns fans, they're torn. They're 50-50. Some are ready to see him go. Some would love to see, a young blue chip prospect like RG3 just come to the Browns and just be the face of our organization. He really does seem to have it all, not just on the field. He's got a brain, and he seems like he can handle himself from both aspects of the game, on and off the field. I'm a big believer in taking the best player on the board. Okay, I think that if Robert Griffin is there at 4, which he probably won't be, then yes, I feel the Cleveland Browns have to take him. But do I think that we need to give up these picks that we've been, dumping players around to get? We got ourselves in a pretty sweet position right now to be picking 4 and 22 in the first round of this draft. And I'd like to see them stay there, even though we know the Browns to be a team that don't like to pay top 5 prospect salaries, might possibly trade down. I'd like to see us stay at that number 4 spot. If RG3 falls, I think the Browns have to take him. Do I think he will? No.
Okay. Well, and just to throw a few things out there, it's different this year with the new CBA. So trading out of the top 10 is probably not as advantageous as it used to be. Mm-hmm. But the other thing is, just to sort of go with what you're saying, the Redskins have offered a 1, 2, and a 3 this year, plus at least 1 next year, maybe a first round next year. So what you're saying about giving up a lot, we may be giving up our 2 1s, a 2, and maybe a 1 next year, and that is a lot of talent.
Well, to compare us to Washington, I think Washington might have more key components of their team in place at other areas than we do. I think Washington is 1 quarterback away from being a potential playoff team. I mean, they beat the Giants twice. That NFC East division is one of the toughest, and I'm not taking anything away from the AFC North, but I think Washington would probably be in a better position to move up and give up some picks to jump up there and take them.
Okay. Anyway, let's just look at what we could have if we don't go crazy and trade up, and we don't go crazy and trade down. All right, Indy is going to take Luck. They're not going to take RG3. They're going to take Luck, for sure. St. Louis, they want to trade, and they've got Bradford now, right?
Committed.
Right, okay. So now let's look at the Vikings, and I'm sorry to tell you this, Dale, but I think our offensive line hopes will probably be crushed at number 3 because Khalil's going to go to the Vikings.
Vikings already made their commitment at quarterback with Chris Ponder. When they took him in the first round last year, everybody was like, huh? What? Right. Who's Chris Ponder? So, I mean, they definitely picked him way, way ahead of where everyone else thought he was worth. And when you commit to a guy like that, well, you made your bet. So definitely look for Christian Ponder to still start. Get him more protection. Get another, Pro Bowl tackle for Adrian Peterson. Right. And, good things could come for the Vikings right there with that pick. So I definitely see them taking Khalil, sadly.
So, that leaves Trent Richardson at number 4 for the Browns. Now, it's a running back. We've got Peyton Hillis.
Okay.
And
maybe,
possibly, probably. And we've got Hardesty Badlegs.
A lot invested in him.
Yep. How important is it, Dale, do you think, to bring a running back in here? How high should we give up a pick for this guy?
Trent Richardson's stock has been falling in this draft a lot. He did just have his knee cut. Wasn't a major procedure. Like I said, the drop off after these top 3 guys is a lot. It's a reach. You got Justin Blackman, you got Trent Richardson. Those are the 2 next best offensive playmakers at their position in this draft. And I do see the Browns working out a contract with Hillis, maybe if it's just to tag him. I do think he'll be back. They're probably going to put him there, and I think the Browns are going to do what they do in typical draft fashion, and that is trade down. They're not going to put all their stock in this Trent Richardson, and I agree with that because if you look at the past 10 years and the past 20 teams that have made it to the Super Bowl, none of them have had even a top 5 running back. These names that I can throw at you will blow your mind.
Okay, well, I'll, right off the bat, I'll say that just my impulse is to say there's absolutely no way. I mean, there's got to be some big names, and I'm trying to think of some big names in the.
You'd have to go back to the '90s and look at guys like Emmitt Smith, Terrell Davis, Jamal Anderson. That's when the NFL was, a hard, grind-nose game. The rules that have changed our game have made this a pass-first game. And it's nice to have those top-tier running backs like Adrian Peterson and Arian Foster and LaShawn McCoy. But tell me the last time any of those 3 guys were in a playoff game, or not even a playoff game, but how about a divisional championship? You don't see big-name running backs, and I'm going to prove it to you guys right now. Let's go back. Packers, Steelers. You had James Starks, Ryan Grant, and Rashard Mendenhall. The year before that, Saints, Colts, Pierre Thomas, and Joseph Adai. Steelers, Cardinals, that was Mendenhall and Beanie Wells. Patriots, Giants, that was Ahmad Bradshaw and BenJarvis Green Ellis. Go back even farther. Look at these names. Willie Parker, Lawrence Maroney, Thomas Jones, Sean Alexander, Tiki Barber, Antoine Smith, Corey Dillon, Michael Pittman, Charlie Garner. These are all starting running backs. You're not hearing any huge names. You go back 10 years, the first guy who pops out at you is Marshall Faulk. That was the last big-name running back to be a starter for a Super Bowl team.
Well,
so
I'll say Dillon was a big name. Maybe not dramatic that year.
The prime of his career was with the Bengals.
Right.
Did the Bengals make a playoff game with Corey Dillon?
Yeah, probably not.
Probably not. When they put him on the cheating Patriots, who had the other team's signal callers and had, I'll still give Tom Brady credit on being a great quarterback as he's proven over time, but Corey Dillon was just kind of plugged into a winning team already and just kind of carried it. And even in the playoffs in the Super Bowl, he wasn't the reason that they won those games. He didn't have 150-yard, 3-touchdown games that he went through the playoffs. No. There are these big name running backs. They're almost extinct in the game.